All of England here, and welcome to another user replay. Now, this replay is from a user who's actually previously featured on this channel, so that is Martin, who is in my clan, and today he is playing in the Vladivostok. Now, as you probably see by his build, keep in mind he does also have a special Russian commander here. He's got Nikolai Kuznetsov. Now, this is a 15-point commander, and you can obviously see by his build and his upgrades that he's going for a concealment build. And I'll just quickly go onto the actual scoreboard here, and you can see that we are top tier here, which is very good for him, and he definitely shows what you can do whilst you are top tier. And it's just generally a very powerful ship, and when you've actually got this build, and with his captain as well, upwards towards going the Kremlin, it's very useful on the Kremlin, but it definitely does sort of save his bacon later into the game, but overall it's just a pretty good replay. Now, he's coming onto the decap here, and there do seem to be quite a few players here, and thankfully, this team, they've not sort of gone and lemminged on just to a single side, so they are going to be contesting both the A and the decap, and we're just going to really see the actual power that this ship has, and he's going to be mainly firing armor piercing, because as you can probably see by the actual team loadout, that there are quite a lot of enemy battleships on the enemy team, and if we just look on this scoreboard again here, you can actually see the various tiers of them. They are mainly all top tier here, but some of them are lower tiers. Unfortunately there is the Ismail, which is a couple of tiers lower than the Vladivostok, so it is quite amusing when they do actually engage each other. Now, the thing, apart from on the enemy, apart from on the other side of the map, has actually been spotted here, and there we go. There is the first thing to be spotted, and that is an enemy Chapayev, which is the Russian light cruiser. Now, considering that we've got 3 destroyers and 2 of those destroyers are on this side of the cap, it's going to be in, his best interest to be sort of taking that out, because obviously that's going to be able to radar these 2 destroyers, and those 2 are currently trying to get the cap, which is being contested. Now, he's not actually spotted at the moment, so he's just sort of sitting here waiting for anything to actually be spotted here, so he's just kind of sitting here, and yeah, he does have a few of the players next to him, and there we go. He has just shown himself to the Vladdy broadside, and he gets his first 2 guns off, and those start going in there. Nice. So he gets 2 hits, one of them being a citadel. That's definitely scared him, and by the looks of it, something next to him, probably the Nagato, has also just gone and knocked off the rest of his health, leaving him with 900 HP, meaning he's definitely going to be out there, and now they are going to be able to get the cap with, I guess, superiority, because there's no one going to be able to actually radar them, and yeah, they've got a supporting Ismail there and whatever else is currently unspotted, but yeah, it's definitely going to be a fact of these 2 destroyers are going to be able to keep the cap. And there we go, the Friendly Minds has just gone and taken out the Chapayev, which is very good for the team, and now they can all start pushing in. So this is quite good as well, what Martin does here, because what you find from quite a lot of Battleship players, I'm not entirely sure why, is even though they have clearly got a cap and they've got an opportunity to start pushing in, you just find they just kind of sit there or reverse or don't do it. So here, Martin's actually taking the initiative here, pushing straight in just to start going and helping this cap, because obviously there is still the enemy T61. Obviously that's not going to be also very nice on that Vladdy again. He gets a nice citadel there, just chop off a massive amount of his HP. But yeah, the T61 versus the Bliskavika and the Hatsuharu is just going to be no match. So as soon as he gets spotted, as he just did then, he's going to get wiped out pretty fast unless he manages to do something pretty tremendous. Now, obviously what the enemy team are doing, they're not directly pushing in here, and yeah, they're in a pretty bad spot. Obviously if they come around and get behind these guys, then it's going to be bad for this team, but what they're doing is pretty bad. What they're doing is they're going to be only able to shoot, say, 1 or 2 ships at a time, that only ships that give all those battleships an opportunity to shoot them are going to be the only ones that they can, because they're in such a bad position here, whereas here, everyone that's actually pushing into the cap and just staying here, they have got sort of a free choice of who they want to shoot at, and at the moment it's looking pretty bad for the enemy team here, as the North Carolina's running away, the Amalfi's, well, it looks for stuck on the island, and then you've got the King George, which is just kind of sitting there, I guess, holding that open area there into the decap. Now, the T61 still hasn't actually managed to cap here. Yeah, okay, the Nagato has just kind of stopped him pushing because he's going in front of him, but I'm assuming he's either going to be going into the entry there or just generally pushing in, and there do look to be some torpedoes, so I'm guessing those are again from the T61. Now there is the North Carolina. I mean, yep, it just knocks the Gorizia down to 1,000 HP and gets knocked out. But at the same time, they do, our team does actually manage to knock out the T-61 here, which is very good. Well, I say our team, I mean Martin's team is in the friendly team, and they managed to take out the T-61, now allowing them to cap the D point. Now, if you look on the other side of the map, it looks like, there's a bit more of a stalemate going on there, as you've got the Akatsuki and the Gnevny, as well as two of the battleships sort of holding there as long, so it's more of a sort of stalemate and a bit more of a fight there. But thankfully, I mean, this side is getting the D cap, meaning even if they do manage to get the A cap, it's still going to be a pretty even number here, so it's going to be a numbers game of who takes out the most ships. But at the moment, I mean, it does just look pretty equal, as, there's a ship deficit each side. Of 2, but I guess they have got sort of point advantage on the enemy team because they've taken out 2 cruisers, and now they've also taken out a destroyer. So yeah, that does actually put this team at a disadvantage. Now, obviously, this concealment, I mean, I was about to say, does come in handy here because that Ismail at first could not see the Vladivostok until he fired there, but unfortunately he was turning out, meaning those shells missed. But I mean, the returning shells don't really do too much damage. Yeah, they do 3,000 on the single penetration, meaning he's pretty much okay there. And as well as that, well, there's also the enemy Fubuki, so we now know that 2 of their destroyers were on this cap. So I mean, once they take out the Fubuki, they've got pretty much total, I guess, map security on this side of the map in terms of destroyers, so they'll be pretty safe from torpedoes. Now, as well as, what this commander gives, I mean, because you can see obviously with the upgrades earlier, you could see that he'd got the main battery upgrade to actually get the sort of better dispersion, but with this commander as well, what you do get as sort of an addition when it is actually, what's the word, when it's activated, is that you will survive a little bit longer as well, as the shells coming at you are going to be sort of increased by 20% in terms of dispersion, yet he's going to have pretty good dispersion. I mean, it just overall makes his odds even better if he does get that low. Now, that's a really bad position for that North Carolina. Yeah, he just gets double Citadel for 40,000 damage. I mean, I don't know what he was expecting there. I mean, he was coming out broadside to a Vladdy, and he does pop a shot off, but I mean, he only gets his stand there, and it looks like they do ricochet or overpen because there's pretty much no damage done there. So I mean, it's just a very bad day to be at that North Carolina. And his only supporting ship, which was the King George, has just been taken out by the Bayern, meaning he's on his own. I mean, yeah, he can heal up and that, but I mean, it's Citadel damage, which can usually only be healed up to about 10%, meaning he's not going to survive much longer. And there we go, he gets another 3 penetrations as well as 3 overpens, and now he's left with just 12k, and he's just healing up now very slowly. Oh yeah, it looks like his heals actually just run out, so that's it. He's stuck with 12k with, a Vladdy, the Nagato, the Hatsuharu, as well as all the other supporting ships were at the back. But I'm assuming that the Cleveland and the mines are going to be sticking around D just so they can stop the Akatsuki from actually getting the D cap from them, because, as you probably noticed while this has been going on, the other cap over at the other side of the map has been lost, and now the Massachusetts, New Orleans, Tirpitz, and the Akatsuki have won that, meaning that there is now sort of 2 caps on each side. However, because, it's still rather close, it's still, I guess, any side could win here at this point. But I mean, the North Carolina is nearly dead, and Martin is making sure to stay pretty well angled, meaning that he's not going to take too much damage from either side here, and he's just reloading his final salvo. So yeah, there are those main guns, and the North Carolina is actually giving him a much better angle than he needed to, and then manages to get the kill. But unfortunately, does open himself up to the North Carolina. I mean, that angle should have made him take a lot more damage there, but he got pretty lucky with those bouncing off. Now here is, he's a couple of tiers lower. Here's the Ismail, and this is where I do find it quite funny, where he just effectively starts playing with them. So I mean, he's aiming in and that. I mean, obviously the Ismail's now running away. I mean, at the end of the day, you see this coming behind you, I'd be running away as well. But I mean, just after this is just rather amusing. But I mean, what he's doing here at the moment, what Martin's doing is pretty clever. He is pursuing the Ismail, but at the same time he's also getting behind cover, because if he does get spotted in that, he can still be shot at from the side with the Massachusetts, so it's in his best interest to not be firing at the moment. Wait till he gets around the island and then get into a position where he can at least nose in and angle against any shots coming his way. I mean, yeah, they are now taking the B cap as well, so it's looking somewhat bad for the friendly team, but at the same time, if you look at the actual ships, it's not looking as bad, because I mean, yeah, they have got the cap, but I mean, they've got 3 ships heading towards B versus the 1 New Orleans, which is just sitting there, meaning it's going to be pretty easy to reclaim, and generally all their ships are pretty well spread apart, meaning they can be taken out one by one with more focused fire. And his repair party has just come off cooldown, and he's still got 3 left, meaning, even if he takes a lot of damage here, he's going to be pretty fine to carry on playing. And this is what I find quite funny here. So even though he's got the Ismail there, and he could probably try and shoot him through the back and see if he could sort of get a citadel through the rear, he just decides, no, I'm just not going to bother, and he just leaves him, and he's just getting his guns ready for the ships that he's going to be facing shortly, which is the Massachusetts and the Tirpitz, which are going to be a much more of an issue for him, because obviously they've got more HP, they've got more guns, well, not more guns, they've got high caliber and more damaging guns, so it's in his best interest to knock them out. And plus he needs to support his friendly Nagato, who's only got about 17,000 HP left. Now, even though the Massachusetts knows that, that Martin's here, he's still turning away, I'm guessing somewhat oblivious, not realising he's there. And unfortunately Martin does get pretty unlucky with quite a few shatters and non-penetrations there. And the Ismail, for God knows what reason, is now firing high explosive, dealing 1600 damage and gets a single fire. So I mean, yeah, he's definitely nothing to worry about. And at this point he starts, just carrying on his, I guess, just running away from him, because as soon as the Vladdy sort of puts his attention to him, it's going to be pretty bad news for the Ismail. Now, Massachusetts is pretty much dead here, so yeah, 8,900 HP with a very nice salvo there going in. Gets 4 penetration and overpen, just knocks him out, and this is where I somewhat started to cringe, because, the Tirpitz, it is the Tirpitz, and, apart from being famous for sinking, it's also famous in wars of warships for having, torpedoes, and Martin is coming in very close here. Yeah, that's not looking good. I mean, he's obviously turning in here to get, I guess the best chance against the torpedoes, and plus he can shoot against his side, so even though there's turtle back, he can still, yeah, there you go, 17k damage. But at this point, it's just quite bad, because, I mean, most of these torpedoes will probably hit, and yeah, there they go. Yeah, he's taken 2 of those, which is very bad news for him, and his, his damage control is out of... Yeah, he's got 1 second left on that, and that leaves him with 8,000 HP, but... Yeah, there we go, he does actually manage to check that, and he's just got another 52 seconds left, so now it is in his best interest to run away from the Ismail, funnily enough, and it would actually be quite good if the Ismail was firing high explosive, because it would mean he'd be able to get a permafire, but at the same time... Martin's guns are loaded and they are turning to this side of him, meaning he's able to do this. I think the Ismail realises and tries to turn away, but it's too late, and he gets triple citadel for 26k and knocked out the game, leaving a single ship left. Yeah, there we go. It's not looking good. The last thing is just the New Orleans, and overall it's just quite sad, because at least for him, I mean, it's great for Martin's team, because I mean he's just come out of this game with 175k and a very nice win, and now it's just a fact of waiting either for the clock to run out or for the New Orleans to get taken out here. Yep, there we go. So there's New Orleans. He starts scoping in here. Whether he gets the kill, we'll have to see. Shots coming in. You can see some other ones coming in. I mean, he could get a 4th kill here. Unfortunately, he gets an overpen, and there are still people shooting, so I'm guessing I'm not too sure why he's holding his fire there. Because, I mean, there's so many other people. He's got 1,000 HP left, and overall, it's looking like pretty bad time for him. And he just about manages to secure the kill with an overpen, and that is the end of the actual game. And now that battle is concluded, we're now looking at the personal score on the result screen. And it looks a little bit different, as you probably saw if you watched the 100 container unboxing. You'd know he's got quite a few different mods installed, but if you haven't watched that, then yeah, he's got quite a few, I'm assuming, as your lane mods, so the icons look a little bit different. But nonetheless, you can still see what exactly he got there, and I mean, with the actual economics, it's looking very good, because obviously 621k credits. And as he was trying to get the soft Sawyers, the 19,844 XP is very good. I'm assuming that's with some signal modifiers, etc., as well as a very nice 6.7k free experience. Now, for the actual performance, I mean, because he was able to take out that Charles, Sorry, not the Charles Martel. But at the end, he was able to take that last ship out. He was able to get 177,000 damage, which is very, very good. And all of that in just 46 target hits, with 7 of those being citadels, which obviously accounted for quite a lot of that damage. As well as that 3 aircraft shot down, I mean, 4 destroyed. It would be nice if he got 1 more to get a Kraken, but even so, that's still not a problem. I mean, it's still an incredibly good score. And then there's also these fire, the assisted in capture, as well as the 37 target hits. So, with that concluded, that just brings us to the end of the video, and I certainly enjoyed watching it, so thank you for showing me that replay. And I hope everyone watching also enjoyed it too, and just, you know, if you've not played in the Vladivostok, I mean, I've not personally got it, but it looks like a fun ship, so it's probably a line that I'll probably look to go down at some point in the future, and now know what to expect. But that's pretty much it from me. So if you've got any replays that you want to actually me to submit, then let me know. I mean, I'm in the process of making Discord, so replays can sort of be submitted and other people can just generally talk. As well as that, if there's anything else you want me to cover in the future, then let me know in the comments below. But that is it from me, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.